This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2015 Lincoln MKC base. Up front is a 2.3 liter turbocharged inline 4, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm excited to be driving this here MKC because I've been driving a couple of Lincolns recently. Actually, in this last week, I drove a 1979 Lincoln Continental and a 2018 Lincoln Navigator. Both of those were flagship vehicles, meaning they were sort of the top of Lincoln's game. The Navigator has been around for years and years and years, and it's sort of the epitome of Lincoln. And the Continental back in its day, that was the Lincoln to have. That's the Lincoln. And so, today I'm driving the MKC, which is not the flagship vehicle. This is really a Ford Escape with a bunch of nice parts on it. So let's see how it stacks up. Does it withhold Lincoln's mantra, or is it just another rebadged slush box? Let's find out. Let's get back to that turbocharged inline 4 under the hood. I'll put the horsepower and torque up on the screen. It's decently peppy. It is the 2.3 liter from the Ford Mustang EcoBoost, the Ford Focus RS, as well as the Ford Ranger. This engine has been used across a bunch of different vehicles with slight modifications for each application, of course. But we're out here on the test track. We are warmed up. We do have a sport mode, so here we go. You're probably gonna hear a lot of my equipment flop around. Don't worry about that. Honestly, I just got out of an EcoBoost Mustang from a similar year, 2017, and this feels just as quick as that. This is almost as fun to drive. This obviously doesn't have a manual transmission, but it's peppy, it's quick, it's fast, it's fun, and I like it. I really, really do. Fuel economy is up on the screen for those interested. It is a 4-cylinder, so it's not terrible. It's also not amazing, so take it as you will. Last but not least, this here MKC is all-wheel drive. However, you can find them in front-wheel drive if that's something you would want. So let's talk about the interior. We have a couple interesting things to talk about in here. Well, in front of me, I have physical gauges. On the left is my tachometer, as well as I get a little screen for like my trip odometers, things like that, and coolant temperature down at the bottom. And then on the right, I have my speedometer, and I get a screen in the center that I can swipe through a couple of very basic things that I'm showing here. Nothing really too crazy. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my selector for my left screen. I have my cruise control options, which is really nice. And on the right, I have my options for the right screen, or really middle screen in the gauges. Volume, mute, skip track, and phone options. I like the steering wheel. I like the look of it. Looks decently modern. I'm not too mad at it. Around the back of the steering wheel, I do have paddle shifters, interestingly enough. So you can plus minus if you'd like to for big hills, mountain driving, things like that. It's a nice feature since the shifter's on the dash, which we'll talk about later on. And moving over to the left, I have my headlight switches, and down below, I have my parking brake. Now, up above my headlight switches, this is where I first start to see the wood accents in the car. And honestly, I'm not a fan of these because they kind of look like the wood lanes of a bowling alley. I don't know, just the color, the grain of them. I think they could have chosen a little bit better, and maybe in other cars there's different grain pulled from different trees, but this here, all I can think about when I look at them is Brunswick Zone and how you would eat like fries and chips and then shove your fingers into those sweaty, dirty bowling balls that you know never got clean. They sprayed them with stuff, but it was probably just glorified Windex. And then of course, whenever you got a strike, the screen would play an obscure cartoon. I don't know. That's just the vibe I get from that wood. But moving on to the door, I have 3 different memory seat options. Very, very nice. Of course, more wood accents, which now that I'm feeling, I'm sorry, I'm getting back to this wood again. I feel the grains and like almost, I could see myself getting a splinter from these. It's like peeling up a little bit, like splintering like actual wood. Ugh. Then down below that, I do have my power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, I have climate control vents, a speaker up on the dash as well. And then to the left, this is where you actually find the shifter. It's a push-button system like the Lincoln Navigator. However, I like the Lincoln Navigator system better. They feel more solid. This just, well, feels like regular buttons, really. And in 88,000 miles, there is a little bit of wear on these buttons, obviously, because this car has been put into gear so many times. But funny enough, there's no wear on the neutral button. So I guess this car hasn't been rolled too much. Then I do get the infotainment screen. Through here, I can run my heated seats as well as my heated steering wheel. And this is Ford's sync system. It's a little bit laggy. This is an older sync system. However, one fun thing is I can adjust the ambient lighting in here. So that is pretty fun. Unfortunately, the lights don't have any names, but they do appear as like these like bubbles. They do kind of like that look. Last but not least, let's talk about the backup camera. Very standard Ford backup camera with the lines. However, the lines do not adjust when I turn my steering wheel like they do in the Mustang and other Ford products, which I would have liked to have seen. A little bit better for gauging, but this has nice color to it and it has decent resolution for what it is. Down below that, I have my volume controls and tune knob, and then I have my climate controls. Very basic, very small at the bottom right here. And I do have dual zone climate and I do have heated seats. However, I don't have cooled seats, but again, this is the base model. So I'm actually really impressed that it gets the heated seats. Down on the center console, we do have a little trap door that shows an SD card input for your navigation, 2 USB ports, and a 12-volt outlet. I love the fact that that hides away really nice and simple and clean. And then we have cup holders. So let's do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Lincoln MKC. And it fails. Unfortunately, the MKC fails, again, where the Mustang wins and the Navigator also fails. So I guess Lincoln does not value big bottles. So a couple of thank yous to the people who made this video possible. First of all, we have Cash for Cars. Cash for Cars wants to buy your car. Whether it's running, non-running, has a good title, salvage title, whatever it is, you can get a free quote from Cash for Cars and they will pick up your vehicle in less than 24 hours. Our next sponsor is Fixed. Fixed is a Bluetooth OBD2 sensor that plugs directly into your car and pairs to your smartphone. The app allows you to monitor your vehicle's health. It gives you a forecast of issues that might come up and helps you schedule maintenance and find new parts. Our final sponsor is Conplates. Conplates is a suction cup license plate mount for the front of your vehicle if you don't want to drill one into your bumper. All three of our fantastic sponsors can be found in the description below, as well as videos explaining them further if you'd like more information, but let's get on with the review. Then I do have a center console with a little cubby in there and a 12-volt outlet. Nothing really too crazy. Now, the seats are nice and comfortable. They are finished in this nice tan leather, very taut. I like it. They are heated, they are power, and they are memory. And again, for a base model, the three of those, it's very, very nice to see, and I expect that out of Lincoln. However, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2015 Lincoln MKC, and honestly, the back space is not quite what I expected. It's a little tight back here, and this is my driving position, of course, that could be adjusted. My knees are kind of hitting the front. It's just not what I would expect out of a more luxury vehicle, if you want to consider this that. However, it is the smaller chassis, and you know, in my mind, I recently drove the brand new 2021 Ford Escape, and that had a great back seat, but this is based off of the older Ford Escape. So I'll leave a link to that video, the older Ford Escape Platinum that I did. I'll leave a link to that at the end of this video if you'd like to compare vehicles. However, a couple things to note back here. I do have 2 levels of heated seats. I get a 12-volt outlet, and then I do get 2 tiny cup holders down here in the center console. That's really it. Nothing really too crazy back here, although I do get to really enjoy this glass roof. It starts in front of the driver and ends right behind my head back here, which is really, really nice. Definitely very cool. Let's go take a look at the trunk and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so around the back of the MKC, no power tailgate, but it does have struts to assist. Once we're back here, we have these little cargo nets on the side, or at least on that side. Get this nice Lincoln emblem. Of course, this is the floor mats. And you can pull this up and you do get a spare tire, funnel, jack, and a tire filler if that's something you need. Really, really nice. I do like that a lot. And I have a speaker back here, and this is actually a very good size. I'm very, very happy with the size of the trunk back here. And of course, that second row of seats can be folded down if that's something you'd like to do. Now, let's talk about the looks. Now we got to talk about the looks. And honestly, I think this car is rather forgettable. I think in some aspects it looks like they tacked on a little bit extra chrome to a Ford Escape, because they did. And so I honestly think that this is the worst way a car could look. It doesn't make me feel any certain way. Even cars that are overly hideous I would rather prefer, because at least they get an emotion out of me. But this doesn't. I could honestly live without it, and that's a little disappointing. However, you're not going to make an ugly statement, which is cool. So if you're worried about people thinking your car is ugly, this is definitely not going to be that. So let's get on to my final thoughts on this here Lincoln MKC. Well, first of all, I do want to mention that this is the car that started the Matthew McConaughey commercials from Lincoln, which are fantastic. It's just Matthew McConaughey in a Lincoln, and he just says a bunch of words, and it's supposed to be super thoughtful and insightful, but sometimes it isn't. Like, there's literally one of him just staring at a bull in the middle of a road, and then he guesses the breed of bull, and then it just says Lincoln. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to film my own Matthew McConaughey Lincoln commercial. I hope you enjoy. The wind whistles differently in a Lincoln. Out here, it's you and the road. You have nothing but decisions and time to make. Looking back is like looking forward twice. It's like going out to dinner and the waitress asks you if you want to take some home in a box, and you do. But you didn't really like the meal, and so you're really just taking it home in a box just to be courteous, which is kind of, redundant, because you're just going to throw it away at home. Where does it matter where it gets thrown away? Now you wasted a styrofoam container, something non-biodegradable, and honestly, I think the environment's a little worse off because of that. Why do we do that as humans? You don't want to take it home. I mean, the waitress ain't gonna be offended if you don't take it home, Now I'm gonna show some pretty scenery to make you forget that what I just said was very incohesive. But let's talk about my actual final thoughts. Let's stop making fun of this thing for a second. Let's talk about the things I dislike. I really dislike these wooden features in here. I think the wood is harsh. I think it's cheap looking and reminds me, again, like I said, of not good memories. I feel like I'm gonna get a splinter feeling my own car. The infotainment's a little laggy, and I don't like the shifter. It's not nearly as satisfying as its Navigator older brother. However, with that being said, I think this actually is a really worthy upgrade over a Ford Escape. If you're between getting a used Ford Escape or a used Lincoln MKC, go for the MKC. You get the 2.3 turbo, you get heated seats and memory seats as standard, which is fantastic. You have to go up almost to the platinum to find that in the Ford Escape. It looks reserved, it looks different. You're not going to be buying a Ford Escape that everyone has owned. I can think of 4 friends right off the top of my head just now that own a Ford Escape. You're gonna be more unique driving around in a Lincoln. And to top it all off, you can imitate Matthew McConaughey. I think I slipped into more of a southern drawl than I probably should have in my commercial, but you can make your own commercial because you're in a Lincoln. And so no, I don't like the look of it, and I think the wood in here is tacky, but I honestly think that this is a good used purchase. Especially now they're coming down in price. This one's a couple years old. Yeah, it has, 81,000 miles. I would try to search out one that has less than that, but you're gonna start seeing these as budget luxury cars, and that's what's great about Lincoln. Is that yes, they're expensive to start off with, but you can find them pretty cheap a couple years later, and they have great features. They really, really do. I'm really starting to come around to Lincoln. I really do like them. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my little commercial. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me take out their MKC. This is really eye-opening to the entire brand of Lincoln, and honestly, it's pretty good. I am very happy with it. This is one of their used vehicles. Toyota of Naperville has tons of used cars on their lot, and they are also looking to buy your used car. The market is hot right now. You will not get more for your used car than right now. So head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com to check it out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe. Really like it. Take care, guys.